Please stop calling anime Japanese cartoons. I have watched a considerable amount of both anime and cartoons, and let me tell you, if you think that generally speaking they are basically the same thing, you are an absolute lemon. The differences in both animation style and technique are so drastically different you would have to have a severe illness affecting your vision to not be able to distinguish them. Seriously think, if you were shown two shows you have never seen before, one a cartoon and one an anime, both in English and the mouths match the words perfectly, you would be able to tell which is which within 5 seconds. It's like eating different types of food. You probably know what country it was created or is popular in, and that's way harder. There are hundreds of different types of food, and we're just talking about Japanese and Western animation. Now you might say, well okay, that does make sense, but who really cares? It's just an easy way to answer the question. For one, I don't really see how that's easier than answering it more accurately, since the bizarre answer might just bring up more questions. But more importantly, advertising anime as Japanese cartoons is doing it and yourself a horrible disservice. What exactly is the point of watching Japanese cartoons when you can watch Western ones which are in English? There, of course, wouldn't be one, which is why anime are not cartoons, but instead an entirely different medium targeting audience looking for something very different than what we get from most of our cartoons. While there are, of course, exceptions to any rule, generally speaking, the biggest difference between Western cartoons and anime is that the former leads towards an episodic format and the latter towards continuity. This means that a lot of the time, our cartoons feature episodes where it begins with a premise that is established by itself without any need of prior knowledge for the show, and then the events unfold in a way that can be viewed in 12 or 24 minutes, and then that's the end. Nothing happens that will affect later episodes, hence the term episode. Contrarily, most anime tend to tell a story over a long period of time with anywhere from 12 to 25 to hundreds, and with shows like One Piece almost thousands of episodes sometimes, each episode depending on and building off of each other, of course with the exception of filler episodes which are not canonical and actually do tend to have an episodic aspect to them. When you think about it, that is a pretty significant difference in entertainment. While both are valuable and have their own audiences, cartoons are better for people who don't like to invest themselves too deeply into a series and are good for short-term entertainment and aren't too keen on attention to detail. And anime is better for people who have a lot of time on their hands and are willing to invest in a grand story where they get to explore a new world and a cast of characters with different personalities, experiences, and relationships. Like I said, there are exceptions to this, the most prominent in my opinion being Avatar: The Last Airbender and Gintama. This is even evident in and of itself because of the thing that has annoyed me so much over the years, namely being that people keep saying Avatar is an anime. You can get into the semantics of how anime is just the Japanese word for animation, so technically that is correct. But that means that literally every cartoon, including SpongeBob, is an anime. If you have watched at least a few cartoons and anime, I don't believe you can't tell the difference between the two. My point with Avatar is that ignoring the fact that the written language in the show is kanji, the show was written and produced entirely by Americans, yet so many people seem to assume that it's an anime. The reason they believe this is mostly due to the fact that the entire show is continuous. There are 20 episodes in each of the 3 books, which are set up like sagas, where from the very beginning, the main cast is given a goal, and through all 60 episodes they get closer and closer to it until it's finally accomplished. Every episode builds off the last, and the only way to completely understand what is going on is to watch every episode in order. Gintama is in the other boat. It is in fact an anime, but the majority of it is done in an episodic format, where each episode something happens and they spend the 24 minutes dealing with it, and then it's over like nothing happened. Of course, I know there is some continuity to Gintama, but overall it's not so much, especially in comparison to most other popular shows. So maybe you're sitting here like, well yeah, duh, this is obvious, I didn't need you to explain this to me. What is the point of all this? Basically what I'm trying to say is, it is grossly inaccurate and counterproductive to tell people who are asking what anime is that it's Japanese cartoons, because it is wrong and doesn't give them any reason to give it a shot. It probably dissuades them. Instead, when someone genuinely asks what anime is, I encourage you to tell them a little more about it. Tell them it's Japanese-based animation, maybe even throw the word cartoon in there just for a point of reference, and that instead of the short episodic nature that Western shows bring us, it offers totally different types of stories that span over a long time for a different experience. It might not even hurt to throw in some description of shonen shows since they are the most popular, and while a lot of people don't like to admit it, it's really fun to watch a ton of badass people with superpowers beating each other up with super cool animation. And while I did make the distinction and point out how much it annoys me that people believe Avatar is an anime, the point still stands that it was developed to be just like an anime, so it's a great idea to throw its name out there and say something like, if you liked Avatar, you'll love anime. I'm definitely not saying that you need to go out and tell every person you know that anime is the greatest thing ever and that it's superior to cartoons because, first of all, that's wrong. Like I said, they are both for different types of people. And secondly, you're just gonna look like a damn weeb and probably gonna put them off. Whatever you do. Just please don't tell people it's Japanese cartoons and then leave it at that because that gives them a horrible impression of what it is and absolutely no reason whatsoever to check it out. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say on this topic. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to leave a comment letting me know what you thought about this video. If you understand what I'm saying, you agree with me, you think that this all makes sense, maybe you do describe it as Japanese cartoons to people, I'd love to hear your reasoning. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. With that all being said, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.